Yo, 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 what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another edition of Manga After Dark. What's good, y'all? It's been a minute. As you can see, I have a hat on my head. It's not a painter's hat or artist hat. It's a hat you get that you wear when you graduate from your PhD program. So that's why I've been gone for the last several months. I've been in the last final stretches of my PhD program, and I successfully defended my dissertation last September, and I graduated. Actually, did the ceremony over the summer, but didn't officially graduate until last September. So I was focused on that. So that's why haven't been reacting to One Piece chapters in the last several months. But I'm back because Elbaf has been on fire. The final stretch of One Piece, I've been enjoying it. I definitely have some critiques about like the pacing of the last stretch of One Piece. There's some of your content creators' reactions to some of the fights, how truncated they feel. Like the end of Egghead felt kind of weird. The tassel got in my mouth. Um, but no, yeah, I'm looking forward to the final stretch of One Piece. It's been lit. It's been fire. I've been enjoying the lore of it. Even though the combat parts have been lacking, the lore has been excellent. I really enjoyed the lore I've been getting. I do have some critiques with some of like the character interactions. Like it bugs me how no one like Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido never like ask like, how did rocks double in size, grow wings, fangs, and horns? Like no questions were asked. No like, this is weird. And the fact that Big Mom and Kaido didn't talk basically until Wano from so like basically there's like a legit 40 almost a 40-year gap between Big Mom and Kaido ever saying anything to one another. Excuse me. So yeah, I found that kind of weird. Like I was like, yeah. So there's some certain critiques, but I enjoyed the lore. I'm enjoying seeing the Rocks pirates interact with one another. Like that was a really cool pirate unit. Rock's piece was lit. I enjoyed following his story. It was very tragic. I do feel like Oda made him too. Like he's not a noble person, but all we saw were like his good qualities. We didn't see like the villainous parts of Rocks. Um, so maybe that'll manifest with Teach, and we'll figure out what part was Rocks truly like a Rod, like because Roger is a pirate, but no one would consider him like a bad person or a bad pirate. Well, Squardo would, but you know what I'm saying. Like there's quote unquote good pirates and bad pirates. Rocks only displayed quote unquote good pirate tendencies during the flashback. So I'm very curious to see why was Roger and him beefing just because only one of us can be the top dog in the sea? Was that truly it? Or does Rocks have some quote unquote bad tendencies about him that we'll get through seeing Teach? So I'm curious to seeing more about how that goes. Oh, by the way, my diploma got it framed. Yeah, I got my diploma framed. It looks all nice. This is my baby. This is what I worked so hard for. Mwah. Altogether, 15 years of schooling for this. Now it's time to find a job. I'm teaching. I'm part time faculty, so I'm teaching college classes. It's been fine so far, but I didn't necessarily see myself as a teacher, so I want to try something else. So we'll see what the job market's kind of scary. So prayers for your boy. But no, yes, teaching's been fine. So been focusing on that. But I'm looking forward to getting back into reacting to manga, not just One Piece, but other stuff as well. I totally forgot how to do all the stream labs and OBS stuff. So I have to relearn it, and eventually you'll get like background music and like the font and stuff. And I'll try to expand to get better at the content creation stuff too, because like I have time to sink my energy into something else since I'm done with schooling. So yes, I'm going to try to get better at some of these fancier streaming stuff, and try to get better as a content creator. All right, so let me switch hats. Actually, no, I'm gonna rock this during the reaction. I like it. You know, I haven't really seen myself with it on because you know you graduate, you just have your cap and gown on, and you take it off the moment you can. So yeah, never got to really look at myself in this hat. It's kind of clean. But yeah, without further ado, I have my audience in the back. I went to Pokemon Worlds last summer, which was lit. If you ever get a chance to go to Pokemon Worlds, go. It was fire. So it was in Anaheim last year, so I was able to go. So I got my audience in the background. I got the big gold shiny belt, the only championship they allowed black people to hold for such a longest time. So if the chapter is lit, I'm going to grab the belt. So let's go. to dive into the reaction of chapter 171 of One Piece RAGNIR. Also, let's react to the last bits of the. I'll give my opinions on the rocks, the post rocks portion of the flashback. Cause I still forget this is one crazy flashback. Like having God Valley sandwich into this was nuts. Like I've kept forgetting. Oh yeah, this is Loki's flashback. I do understand some of the critiques. How does Loki know this stuff is happening? Obviously, we zoom into the past and we see the world around it, not just that own person's perspective. Because of course, Loki would have no idea how any of this had happened. But no, it was crazy. I do agree with some of the critiques on Harold, where how blindly he trusted the world government, despite he had ample people he could ask and talk to about said world government. But I totally get the grief of losing Rocks. He allowed Rocks to die for this one specific goal of becoming a member nation. He panicked. He was desperate in his grief. But there's lots of critiques on Harold's ruling as a king. I find it weird that he never married Ida. That he wanted to change Elbaf, but he didn't want to change like the socioeconomic hierarchies or the classist or racial hierarchies, because he couldn't marry Ida because the elders forbidden him to do it. So I found it weird where it's like, oh, we're gonna open the nation up to the world, but can't marry who I want to marry. I found that was a weird. That I found that was inconsistent, somewhat. And like that, I found like the fact that he knew that Ida got poisoned by Estridge's family I was shocked. I was assuming Loki just took the fall for it and no one knew. But the fact that Harald knew that Ida got poisoned, that's pretty crazy. I still understand you can't just destroy an entire town. But yeah, it was kind of weird that Harold's like, thanks Loki for crashing out because I couldn't. Like I do understand the people that don't like Harold, why they don't like him. He's one of the strongest people alive during his lifetime, but like when he chooses to use that strength is questionable at times. There's certain I was in shout out to Naya D Hemmings. I was in his chat, and people were arguing about does it make sense for him not to be able to make an island. People are like, oh, if the elders control the hearts of the people, they'll just go against Herald. But I'm like, Herald could destroy a strong Herald by himself versus Elbaf. It might be crazy to take Herald in that fight, but I don't know. Something about me tells me Herald wins. I don't look. There, I don't know. There's he's a great character, but I totally get the people that don't like him. I totally see it. Same thing with Odin. Same issues where it's like, all right, Odin, could it be Kaido? It was Kaido even said, "Hey, bro, it was a toss up. I didn't even know who was gonna win." Like if you acted. So sometimes when some characters were just like they have all this strength and it's frustrating as a reader when you see them don't use it at the right times until it's too late. But yeah, seeing Harald lose his mind, get mind controlled by or influenced by Emu, watching Shanks and Gabon have to step in the fight. How in the hell is Jorul alive? Like that was that was one of the nastiest panels we've seen. Like the fact that so it makes sense that Jorul's memory doesn't work. It's possible that he does remember what's happening, but he's playing dumb for some reason. But it's probably safe to assume that he just got a traumatic, massive head injury. He probably forgot a lot about what happened this night. But enough with my thoughts. Let's dive right into chapter 1171 of One Piece Ragnir. Also, Ragnar being a chipmunk, squirrel thing, whatever, totally adorable. Cover request by Reverse Kitten, a cat putting cat ears on Zoro. Alright, though, so you got Zoro holding his sword, and there's a cat putting cat ears on him. Alright, dope, pretty cute. Alright, the wake of the fierce battle at Weast Castle. If Harel left the castle in this state, so this is Gabon, he would have brought the great calamity. He would have brought great calamity to the world. I had a taste of that hopelessness future during that fight. No matter how badly we wounded him, his body kept repairing itself. So Gabon's covered in bandages. It's shocking. Harel was murking them guards. Absolutely murking them. Dead bodies everywhere. To think something actually stopped him. Jarul is up. So you see Shanks, Gabon, some giants in the background. Did you know this sacred treasure would be that powerful, Jarul? No, I actually knew nothing about it at all. All I know is I get chills down my spine when I imagine what would have happened if Loki hadn't been here today. So is he just playing dumb? Or is it like no one actually asked him what happened? Or did he just lose his mind after this? I'm curious to see how they're going to explain the current jar rule. It's still possible that again a crazy head injury. He just randomly just started losing his memory. He just got older. Shanks. So Shanks has a bandage over his eye. He's bleeding and he's thinking. He's thinking, having a flashback to when he was talking to Harald. When I join the Gods Knights, it'll be a new dawn for Elbaf. So this is Harald talking to Shanks. Then we got Garling. If you have any wish, simply name it, and it'll be within your reach. You've truly endured a miserable, squalid life until now, my poor child. So this is Garland talking to Shanks. And Shanks is holding his arm that has the shallow sea contract. Forget your former life on the surface. The commoners down there don't even count as people. Shanks, this is Gabon. Shanks is in anguish. Hey Shanks, stop it. Gabon's trying to console Shanks. That's a bad habit. You should never resent your circumstances of your birth, said Gabon. Shanks, why did Harald have to die? He was such a pure soul. If only I'd been faster. Gabon, this isn't your fault. Listen, Shanks, you are here for a reason. Everyone's life has meaning to it. You just gotta hold on. So we're back to where Loki struck down Harald. Is this what happened when you love your country too much? Said Loki. Loki's still down crying. This sucks. Oh. I think Harald's jacket is covering him. So we don't see Harald's upper half. We see his legs. We see a crap ton of blood beneath him. And Loki laid Harald's jacket above his torso. So we don't see Harald's upper body and face. There's fire all around them. He was a rare ancient giant, enhanced with even more power and an undying body. So this is Emu. Those traits made him a true monster. And yet, he was still killed. Who could have? Is something unforeseen lurking on Elbaf? That Loki upsell is crazy. A lot of the power scaling discussions have been interesting about if Harald's equal to Rocks, it's hard to power scale old. Is Rocks at God Valley equivalent to Prime Roger, or is Rocks at God Valley something stronger than Prime Roger and Garp? It's hard to tell. So I would probably say to assume that Rocks, Roger, and Garp were basically the same tier of dude in power scaling wise. To be if Harald tied with Rocks, so that means Harald was somewhere in that power scheme. So how strong is Loki plus Ragnir plus this devil fruit? Powerful. But sometimes it's hard. I was watching one of the King of Lightning's videos where he's Kaido and Big Mom reached the pinnacle that Garp, Roger, Rocks reached. Narratively, it feels weird. Say did they? In power scaling wise, it's possible that all the Yonko were a relative to Roger, And that's just like just due portrayal, we view Roger as something greater. So it's possible, yeah, but I don't know. It's interesting to view it that think of Big Mom and Kaido are relative to Prime Roger, Prime Rocks, Prime Garp. Um, but we need to see more because obviously when characters, flashback characters are far more stronger than when they join the crew in real time. So Loki's gonna get a power dip, and plus he's injured, so we're not gonna see this Loki in the current story until much later. But yeah, the question is where does Loki stand in the power scale wise? Um, Somewhere close to Luffy. But the thing is, if he's somewhere close to Luffy, that means Luffy is somewhere close to Prime Roger, Garb, Rocks. So yeah, so it's an interesting discussion. I really enjoy watching those videos. Who could have seen? Who could have is something unforeseen lurking on Elbath, said Emu. So this is the girl says listening. We should have the abyss pentagram carved by Herald inspected. That shall not be necessary, said Emu. So that was the girl says telling Emu. Emu would respond, it would only result in the death of another knight. Every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. Huff, huff. So there's a limit to the number of people Elu could give the covenant, and or when one of the people with the covenant dies, it takes something out of Emu. Interesting. So Emu was like, nah, I can't take another L today. Like, Harald's better than y'all. That's what Emu basically said. Wait a minute. If Harald died, what y'all mean y'all gonna what you mean you're gonna go and inspect it? And do what? Harald was the one. He had no qualms about lowering his head to appease humans. All he ever sought was communion with other nations and peoples. Harald was a total aberration, and yet he was born with the blood of those savage, battle loving giants. Had we admitted him into the government flippantly, his very presence might have destroyed it from within. And he said about like Elbas. I'm still like I can't wait for the flashback to put the entire picture together of where the ancient giants fit into this. So I have a question of like, clearly they were much bigger because the head at Onigashima looks like an ancient giant head, but it's several times more massive than an ancient giant, and it's just the skull. Like imagine the full like creature. It's I'm pretty sure that's an actual skull and not like a mountain shaped like a skull with horns. So if that was an ancient giant, clearly they were much bigger than what they are today, than what we saw them in current day. And two, why were they green? And how are they not green? Like, should there be like green giants of regular height? Thinking as a biologist, if regular giants come from ancient giants, so like we see like the traits, and plus the horns come in different directions. Ors's horns were out. The modern ancient giant lineage people, their horns are going forward. So there are different groups of ancient giants. Like what's happening here? So I'm looking forward to the whole story that pieces it together, and we've even figure out like a timeline series of how did ancient giants shrink, horn placement changes, skin color change, or there are different groups of ancient giants we're going to find out. So yes, I'm curious to see how all this groups together. He had no qualms about lowering his head to appease humans. All he ever sought was communion with others, with other nations and peoples. Harald was a total aberration, and yet he was born with the blood of those savage, battle-loving giants. Had we admitted him into the government flippantly, his very presence might have destroyed it from within. Elbaf should had never have known a king of his disposition. Forging a covenant with a cooperative ancient giant like him is an unprecedented opportunity. This disappointing outcome proves that history does not lie. You were always going to be incompatible. Never forget, Elbath is of the D. Hydrogen is a D. Loki is a D. So are they saying all giants are D members? Are they saying the ancient giants are all D members? That means then Herald. What? Elbath is of the D. So I've been watching some like theory videos of what the D clan is. And it's like D clan are people that were on Davy's crew. And that's how they signify themselves. They're not like all one group of people that disseminate, because it doesn't make sense with all these different lineages being D members. Unless it's like really back in time, before all the races split, because all the races could mate with one another. So that means they're still like classically one group. They're one species. They just look really different, which is crazy. But also, humans mate with fish in the One Piece world. So is the One Piece genetics is weird, because Dellinger is half human, half fish, fighting fishmen. Wait, no, he's half human, half fighting fish. Not because yeah, it's like an actual fighting fish, not a fish man. Well, maybe we need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure Dellinger is half human and half like actual fish. It's like the One Piece genetics is wonky, so it's possible that yeah, all these people were once the D clan like predates history, and they all differentiated later on, or they were all on they're all some type of an alliance, and that's how they carried on the D name. But Elbath is of the D. Emu. Never forget, Elbath is of the D. So does he mean like it'll destroy it from within due to the history? Because the giants since giants live so long, they can actually peer back into the history easier than the rest. Like the Galley Law is something that like for Ja Rule he knew of. Those were ancient giants that are roaming the seas doing whatever. And because they're like void, they probably are void century people, or a crew that was around during the void century, or they would know of stuff of the void century, and that's due to the fact that giants are long lived. Their stories get passed down, so on and so forth. So it makes total sense that if other nations worked with Elbath, they'll be able to piece some history together due to just how long the giants live, some of the texts that are in Elbath, some of the things they found out. So yeah, it makes sense. And plus, they already got the books from O'Hara. Emu doesn't know this, but yeah, all the O'Hara books are there currently in Elbath, or they will be there. They should be there at this point. So yeah, so the history that Elbath has, just due to how long giants live, and due to the fact that the world government doesn't know that the books are there from the scholars. So the history part could also help break down the world government due to that happening. So Emu was pissed because his Elbath is of the D in exclamation marks. He's pissed. So we're back to Elbath. Loki, after this, the country will be in disarray. Loki, I'm heading out to sea, old timer. So he's talking to Harul. I'll take the surviving soldiers with me. Then this is Jarul. What about Harald's final request? Harald, tell the people of Elbath what happened here. Loki. So everyone knew. So Loki, there's no way I can tell them the truth. Just drop it, all of you. So it's Loki, Ragnir, several guards, Jarul, Gaban, Shanks. Loki, don't speak a word of what happened here today. Jarul, if we say nothing, who do you think they'll blame for all of this? Loki, it'll be the same as always. Say I were to become king, can you see me actually honoring father's ideals? I can only tackle this in my own way, Loki speaking. With this ability, yeah, I didn't see what this devil fruit ability is. That devil fruit has to be nasty, because he was folding Harald, molly whopping him. It was not even a contest. Loki, with this ability, I'll settle the regrets of the old man and I'll end his soldiers. Don't be stupid, Loki. This is Ja Rule. The world government is a big organization. It won't be as easy as you think. Shanks and Gabon are listening intently. Something big happened. Whis Castle was attacked. Your Highness! After that, I set out to sea. Hyrudrin, by the time you guys returned to this island, by the time you guys returned to the island, everyone had already dubbed me Loki, the patricide, father killer, side to kill, patra, father lineage, SAT words, and I made no effort to correct that narrative. But it's not like I was crazy enough to brag about killing him either. I just didn't want everything he stood for to be dismissed because of how things turned out. With all that in mind, do you really think I should have told the people everything? Hydrudin is looking intently. Gaban, he's telling the truth, Hydrudin. So that's what I was also going back. I was going like, I was weirded out how Gaban was like, we don't, whoa, Loki, what happened? Whereas like in the flashback, Gaban was in the castle. So all these people, they promised Loki to not say anything. So that's why they all were playing coy about what happened. So all right, thank you, Oda. Thank you for that. Was a good explanation. I like it. So now my qualms about this flashback has been tied up neatly because that was one of my biggest things. Where it's like the moment Shanks and Gaban went to the castle, how did they not know? Same thing with General. They just randomly start forgetting what. So thank you. The Oda tied it up nicely. He's telling the truth, Hydrudin. So this is Gaban. Get it already. I really didn't want to relive all of this crap. Elder Ja Rule, always opposed to your execution. I can understand why you chose to keep this secret. This is Hydrudin talking. Your father choosing death in the face of the government's manipulation. The world government has been our enemy all this time. I wonder what did they do to father. Indeed, and now they've sent more knights. This is Gaban to Elbath, with some with deep ties to Harald. Even Loki doesn't know all the details about Harald's dealings in the Holy Land. So these are the giant pirates. So no, this is Loki. I mean, Gaban's still speaking. I can fill you in if he wants. Then this is Hyrudin. That won't be necessary. That won't be necessary for now, Yasun. We need no further reason to protect our country. So we see Gerd, Road. I have no idea who this dude is. Hyrudin. I forgot the big dude's name. It's something. I forgot the big dude's name. Zoro Sanji. So the chains are finally off of Loki. Kerchang, they fall to the ground. Loki, it seems we both feel the same way about father. I'm sorry for everything. For the sake of Elbath, let's make a stand together. Then Loki's looking at his hands freed. Luffy, woo! That's great, Loki. Now you can fight now. Roar! So there's like the beast in the background. Loki, Then crash. Something smashed into the bottom of Elbath. It's like you see some legs sticking out. It's pretty big. I was one of them like trash ass ghost dream monster things. It's big. Wow, the scale of this thing is huge. So this would be like the scale of what actual like. Remember I was talking about Onigashima's head? This would be like the scaling of what the Onigashima ancient giant would look like. Even probably slightly bigger because Loki. No, yeah, but perspective because it's far away. So if that thing came up close, Loki would be able to like walk in its skull. So yeah, so that's like the size of what a quote unquote OG ancient giant would be. Whatever that Onigashima skull thing whatever creature that Onigashima skull came from, that would be what the size of it would be. And these are all dreams, so it's possible that this is like someone got told about back in the day, millennia ago. We were many times bigger. So a giant skull monster that looks like an ancient giant is showing up. Roar! Then we got the Loki. Whoa! That's one of the monsters that was rampaging up there. They've got a ton of creatures running around. This is Chopper. Hiruden. Where did they come from? Isn't that a Dragar? I've never thought those were real. Loki. This will be a good warm up. Go on ahead. I'll just jump up. Yeah, that's the other thing. Watching her, seeing her all jump off of the red line was nuts. Seeing Loki jump to Whis Castle is stupid. Ancient giant bodies are dumb. Like, how did Elbaf allow this to get bred out of them? They're gonna be dedicated. Like, I guess I could understand the why the elders forced them to have a kid with Astrid. That makes sense. Look, all right. Seeing how crazy ancient giant blood is, you absolutely should, as an ancient giant, if you're a giant with ancient giant characteristics, you owe it to the group to have a kid with another giant with ancient giant characteristics to keep this bloodline going. 'Cause they're nuts. It's insane physiology. So Hirudrin is running over to the lift. Luffy, what in the world is that? What's going on up there? Hurry up, Hirudin. Hey, Loki. We admit we prejudged you when we called you a Kingslayer piece of crap. We're really sorry. So they're all apologizing to Loki because they all heard the story. But this doesn't undo all the other things you've done. Shut up and go already. I don't need to hear you guys yap. So Loki is standing with all the chains off. Ah, this is the best. I can move so freeing. I can move. It's so freeing. Excuse me. I think Luffy's like jumping up his quad. She. Chopper's hearing it roar. Gabon's looking. Hey Doc, I know you want to take care of me here. This is Gabon talking to Chopper, but I'm worried about my son up there. Chopper, yeah, you make a good point. Till Sanji is skywalking with Gabon and Chopper. Be careful, Sanji, said Chopper. I've got it. Weren't you two gonna stay behind? Loki, this is Loki to Luffy. What are you doing here? Luffy, she. I'm dying to see you fight. So Loki just jumps up. All right, let's show him your power. RAGNIR, squeak. The Dragar is looking. Loki's swinging RAGNIR, and you see like clouds around it. Niflheim. He froze it? A chilling attack. So it wasn't smoky. Like he was. So Ragnar's an elemental weapon? What? So you see it use lightning. This is the first time you've seen it freeze anything. Luffy is looking shocked. What? The Dragar is frozen. I'll break next week. What? So we get the first named attack from Loki, Niflheim, and he froze the entire thing in an instant. All right, I'm glad this is a nice way to end the flashback portion. Most of the chapter we got current day, but we ended up how the story ended. So we got why Ja Rule had no idea what happens. He, Shanks, and Gabon promise, along with the random guards there, promise to be quiet. But I'm curious about the Shanks Loki clash then, because there's like a 6-year gap. So after this, Loki goes out to sea for 6 years. Shanks brings him back. something like that. So I'm curious to see what happened. Did Loki just decide to did Shanks disagree with Loki's plans? Was Shanks okay with Loki chilling until Loki decided to make a play for the world government? That's when Shanks stepped in. Um, so I'm curious to see how they clashed, and or was that fake too? Did they pretend clash so Loki could come back, and they chain him up in Elbath? So this is interesting. So I'm guessing the guards that Loki took with him to be part of his pirate crew are like in jail somewhere. So maybe he gets them out and reform his pirate crew and they sail. Because after this, there's no reason for Loki to. He could stay on Elbath, but he probably won't. I could rather. He's probably going to like get his crew and just head back out in the sea. I do like the idea of him, Hyrudin, become co-captains of the new giant pirates. So like Dorian and Brody become kings of Elbath, and then like how they were co-captains of the giant pirates. Now it's Loki and Hyrudin that are co-captains of the giant pirates, and they're sailing the seas to get revenge for. Because I definitely think Loki and Hyrudin both want to get her revenge for Harald. Um, I could totally see a world where they become co-captains, or it's like they're Loki, because clearly Loki's much stronger than Hyrudin. It's not like they're equal of strength, but like Hyrudin has the respect of everyone. So it'd be like Loki's. They're both co-captains because Hyrudin has everyone's heart, but Loki's the strongest person on the crew. So they're not gonna go. They're not gonna call him first mate or anything like that. Disrespectful. So that's how I think they're gonna become co-captains of the giant pirates. Um, Gotta stay hydrated. So no, it was a very interesting. I like this chapter. A lot of cool dialogue, a lot of good discussion about how these characters are acting with one another. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see a fuller explanation of what RAGNIR is. Like, are we going to get we're probably going to get an explanation when Loki gets his fight, but we all were expecting lightning, and he just froze it. That's pretty interesting. So does he have fire? So like, I know nothing about Norse mythology. So like, I'm guessing there's fire realms. There's a lightning or a sky realm, something like that. Um, so it's probably something like that where he has a named attack that's fire, named attack that's lightning, named attack that's ice. No one has water attacks in One Piece, but he probably has like an air attack or wind attack of some sort. Um, so I'm curious to see what Loki's combat skills look like, and when his devil fruit too. Um, like what type of creature is it? Again, I know nothing about Norse mythology, so I'm gonna be stoked to see what this is a dragon type creature. Is it some type of wolf mammal thing? It was hard to tell from the silhouette. The silhouette was kind of dragony in appearance, but Loki also has horns naturally, so that might be like biasing my perception that some type of dragon because of Loki's natural horns. Um, but no, this is a really dope chapter. Um, as break next week, so we got some time off to digest it. I'm gonna reread it. Um, and then I also wanted to do like One Piece rereads because I was one of the people that didn't wasn't a manga weekly manga reader until Marineford. Like I was watching anime, watching anime through Marineford, then switched to the manga. Um, so I definitely want to like reread some of those chapters to get the differences between the two media, as well as bringing reactions to other manga as well. So yes, I'm looking forward to seeing Loki. I'm looking forward to seeing Hyrudin fight. Even though people are gonna be upset that Hyrudin is gonna be like stronger, like noticeably stronger than what he was when we saw him in Dressrosa, but Hyrudin is definitely gonna get some type of power up somehow. Um, Maybe him getting Ragnar doesn't make sense because Ragnar is the size of Hyrudin, so that wouldn't work. There's gonna be a way for Haruto to get upscaled somehow. Either he's gonna awaken Conqueror's Hockey. Um, yeah, I don't know. Haruto's gonna get something. I don't know what it is, but ugh, they're always gonna show love to him somehow. But let me know what y'all think about the chapter in the comments below. I teach on Thursday, so I don't know when I'll get the reaction out. Um, Again, I'm gonna doing the pre-recorded and then switch to live streams once I get my bearings on how to stream again. So yeah, so maybe I'll get the reaction out sometime on Friday for the time being, and then once I get back into live streaming, then like Thursday nights, I'll probably be able to get the stream out. But no, I'm looking forward to getting back into the groove of things. Thank you all for rocking with me. Thank you all for tuning into Manga After Dark, and I'll see y'all next time.